All right, if y'all are watching this shit, then you know this damn thing just went to hell on me again. I don't know what the hell is wrong with YouTube. Why can't they just handle a live stream? It's not like I got effects and shit going on. This is the cheapest ass, cheapest ass shit ever, and they can't get this thing going. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So, just gonna wait from some folks, maybe see who gets back in here. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, or just gentlemen, probably. So wait for some folks to get back in. God, freaking technology. Yeah, the internet's gonna save the planet. The internet's gonna save us all. You can't even do a live stream without it just freezing up, locking up like a $2 whore. Let's see, we got two people back. Sorry, y'all. Try to surprise everybody with a little stream on a Monday. This is what happens. Son of a bitch. We'll see if it stays up. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't lock up again. Hopefully we don't get hit by another sunspot or whatever the hell. Whatever kind of technology shit. I mean, what's his name? Tucker Carlson's going to Twitter. Maybe my ass ought to just start streaming on Twitter if that's even a thing. Maybe Elon Musk can keep this shit going. Good grief, man. I never see Craig Flugar having to deal with this shit. You know? I don't know. I don't think 365 Sports is live. I don't think they do it live. Who else out there does? John Kurtz. I don't see him and his shit. I mean, maybe he does. Maybe his shit. I don't know. Because he'll just like spaz out. The audio won't, but the video will on his shit sometimes. I don't know. Derek Murray, thank you. Thank you for coming back. I appreciate it. This son of a bitch live stream, but yeah, San Diego State, like we were talking about, there's some intrinsic value there. There is some value there, and I think if Brett Yormark has talked to them, I think he's got some pathways for them into the Big 12, and it wouldn't be a full share. And someone on there, I think it was Romish Lance or whoever. Sorry, I didn't get to their comment before that. He was saying Arizona and Colorado need to hurry up before Oregon and Washington leave. That's the thing. Oregon and Washington is not going to, or the Big Ten is not going to even bother trying to get them in until they see what happens to the Pac. And some people say that's about optics. They don't want to be seen as the death blow to the Pac. But when you take LA, you kind of already killed them. Let's be honest. They're already dead. They're the Walking Dead right now. And it was because of that move. It wasn't because of anything the Big 12 has done or is going to do. But yeah, they're dead already. So it's just a matter of the next shoes dropping. Let's see here. All right, we hit on that. Let me get to this ACC shit though. Let me go ahead and get to it before YouTube blows the fuck up and won't allow me to live stream anymore. Apparently there are a magnificent 7 schools. I like the reference, old school westerns, cool. But apparently there's 7. I even wrote them down here just so I wouldn't forget. Well, that didn't help. Okay, Clemson, Florida State, Miami. We know that. UNC, NC State. Okay, Virginia and Virginia Tech. That's according to guys like Ross Dillinger of Sports Illustrated, Brett McMurphy. We're all aware of Brett McMurphy, but Ross Dillinger is someone kind of, I don't think he's new on this scene, but you don't realize that's not a reporter, writer. You know, SI hadn't been like super huge in the realignment game, if you will. So, but they are a legit outlet, big time outlet. So, if it makes Sports Illustrated, then you know someone's leaking some shit. So, I don't have any reason to believe that those 7 schools aren't working together. For what? That's my big question. For fucking what? What are they working together for? Because I think all of our understanding is it only takes 8 schools to dissolve what? The conference or the grant of rights? Because apparently these 7 schools, you know, with lawyers are looking into everything, trying to get out of the grant of rights. Well, if it only takes 8 to dissolve the grant of rights, then you only need 1 more school, and those schools have enough money to pay somebody for a vote to get out, right? So what do you need 8 for? To dissolve the conference, but the grant of rights is still in place? That may be the case. That's what it's sounding like to me. That even if you can dissolve the conference, well, the schools that don't vote for it, you know, your Wake Forest, your Boston College, your Syracuses of the world, who don't want to dissolve the conference, they're still there. So they need to be owed money. And a lot of it, hundreds of millions of dollars from what I've read. I mean, it's an ass ton of money to get out of that grant of rights. The exit fee alone is insane. And then the schools, even if you go to the SEC, are you really going to make any money? It's like all going to these ACC schools that are left. So if you can get to 8, then you still have 6 schools that you're going to have to pay major money to. That's going to be a major problem. And not to mention, you're going to have to work with ESPN because they're the ones that own your rights, and they're not just going to let your ass out. It's too good of a deal for the ACC. That's a big problem. That's someone no one's talking about. Well, they're talking about a little bit, but like I said, why would ESPN work with you when they're trying to save money right now? Unless they can get a few teams to the SEC, which they already control, and a few teams to the Big 12 that they already control. And they can keep that content in-house. And then if they need to lose some teams to Fox or NBC or CBS or whatever, fine. Maybe that's a way to cut some cost. Now, you'll have to pay Florida State and Clemson more, or maybe they don't come in right away on a full share. You know, there's all there's just, it's a lot of shit. It's big news that 7 schools are working together. It wouldn't be hard to bring in an 8th one, is all I'm saying. All right, let me get to some of these other comments before this shit blows up again. All right, Rubbish Lance. Big Ten might go for Colorado and Utah and actually be in all 4 time zones coast to coast. I don't think the Big Ten give 2 shits about being in every single time zone. Because I don't think Colorado and Utah, right now, if you look at Oregon and Washington, all right, realistically, they're not really worth a full share right now. They're not. Colorado and Utah right now is worth significantly less than whatever Oregon and Washington are worth. So I don't see that ever happening. I don't think the Big 12 would like to be in every time zone because where they are, there's teams that fit that would be additive in every time zone. It's not, right now there's some special circumstances with Oregon and Washington that would allow that to happen. and possibly once they get into the Big Ten, one day they may they may be worth the cost of admittance. But but I think it's more of a special circumstances for that one. Uh, Curtis D316, Pac 12 fans are in denial. Absolutely, they are. The conference is dead. They are. Washington, Oregon aren't signing anything to stay. They absolutely will not ever sign anything to stay. It's not happening. Sucks, but it ain't happening. Rodney Durrett, what's up, dude? San Diego State only pays $17 million if they leave the Mountain West by July 1st. After July 1st, they have to pay triple. That could be a timeline to watch. That's what I was saying, dude. I saw on Twitter it was double. I think it's Paul Catalina from 365 Sports. He said that it was triple July 1st. I kind of want to go with Paul a little bit on that, just because he does this shit for a living. So either way, that's a hell of a lot more money for an exit fee for San Diego State. It's a lot of money to pony up. So I think July 1st is kind of a hard deadline for somebody to get San Diego State. And once again, the Pac-10 can't pay their own member schools right now. They can't pay for San Diego State to come in. Let's see. Arturo Balduras, something like that. Thank you for being here, sir. If the ACC collapses, then who will give a flaming hot poo about the Four Corners? You're talking possibility of getting Virginia Tech, Louisville, Pitt, Syracuse, and maybe NC State. Then the Big 12 can grab quality G5 schools. Well, like I said before, there's incredible value in Colorado. There's incredible value in Arizona. I'm sure there's some kind of value. You know what? There is value in Arizona State. It's just not what you think. Kuz's Corner's he's done some damn fine work here recently, and he's doing some more. He's got this series of charts that he's been going through with another guy, where Arizona State, as far as I want to say it was like membership or there's I can't remember the exact money or the exact the numbers, but there's some really attractive metrics with Arizona State to have them in your conference. So there is intrinsic value for the Big 12 and Arizona State. And Utah, Utah's just really that's getting to be a solid brand. They just need a good push, and I'm talking a brand push, which they're not getting in the Pac. The brand sucks at marketing their own schools. The Big 12 will be great at marketing something like Utah. So there's value there to the Four Corners. But again, it's a big asterisk with Utah. It's a big asterisk with Utah. Mr. Arturo again, like Memphis, South Florida, and San Diego State. Well, I love Memphis. I do think there is a value to South Florida. I think they have their own type of value that I wouldn't mind seeing in the Big 12. It's just I can't see them getting into the Big 12 before a lot of other things happen. We're talking Pac-12 stuff and then the ACC. And look, I don't want to say the ACC is going to pop off anytime soon. I'm going to hold off on that. It's just there's a lot of shit that has to happen in order for the ACC to dissolve and implode, regardless of what Clemson and Florida State want, or UNC wants, or Miami wants. There's too much shit in there that confuses me for me to say either way. I'm not the smartest guy. I kind of get where the Pac is at, right? I understand the market forces. I understand some of their own arrogance and decisions they made in the past that are biting them in the balls now. I understand a lot of things that's going on there. It's a little bit more simple that you have big networks trying to save money, and the best way to save money and to get maximum value out of the pack is actually to break it apart, because they're worth more dead than alive at this point, which is insane to think about, because you have, schools with tremendous value in the pack, but they're worth, jack shit together. They're worth more pulled apart, or liquidated, I think is the proper term for the pack. They're worth more liquidated. The ACC, the thing is, the same thing that happened to the Big 12, same thing that's happening to the pack is going to happen to the ACC. 7 schools are trying to figure this out. They're trying to figure out a controlled demolition of the ACC. That's what they're trying to figure out. And there's a lot of questions on how to make that work, how to make that big old building fall exactly where you need it to. So that's what they're trying to figure out right now. Let's see here. Curtis D316, Big 12 would add Pac-12 and a few ACC schools, probably try to get to 24 teams. Yes, the 24 is the floor. 24 is the floor for the Big 12. With the commissioner you got, with the atmosphere within the Big 12, I think they understand what's going on. I think Brett Yormark understands that paradigm shift. He gets the business of sports. He understands it. And you need more valuable brands to come into the conference. You don't need blue bloods. You don't. That's the old way of looking at things. And yeah, that's going to get you paid right now. That's going to get you paid in the future, of course. Excuse me. But that's not the only way to get paid, because there's other brands that may not have that value, but do have good value. But those brands are more valuable together. Your Oklahoma States, your Baylors, Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, Colorado, Pitt, Louisville, NC State, Virginia Tech. Those schools put together from all over the country have a tremendous amount of value, because you're adding in every time zone you could think of for these networks. That's incredibly valuable. That's incredibly valuable content. You still have big time fan bases all over the country consolidated into one conference. So that's where the power of the Big 12 is going to lie, is in its numbers. All right, not just, you can't, as much as I like Rice, you can't add Rice. Or I like UTSA. I think they're a great story. I think they're in a great market in San Antonio that's exploding. It's a market that's exploding, but you can't add them. All right, you need the Power 5 tags on these schools, not just because of pro rata shit, because you have existing fan bases and traditions and matchups. That's what you got to have. That's what you got to have. And then once you get all that shit, you're coast to coast, and you got those brands, then you will compete with the Big Ten and the SEC. I'm not saying you're going to be on their level, but you're going to be on their heels. You could be the legit third conference, power conference, not tier 2 power, because you'll have real power. You'll have real stroke in the marketplace when you're at 24 plus teams. All those teams I talked about, plus basketball only schools. The most valuable college basketball brand will be the Big 12. It already is, but it's going to be just, in your face, like, wow, the Big 12 is the shit. They are the elite basketball conference. Period. Doesn't matter where UNC goes. Doesn't matter where Duke goes. And those are the two probably bigger brands in all of college basketball. But the overall biggest brand is going to be the Big 12. That's where the shit is going to go down, is in this conference. So you add all that, you're talking, like I said, the floor is 24. You're talking football and basketball only. Floor is 24, only goes up from there. And the more you add, the more powerful you'll become. I mean, it sounds like, oh, that's just some bullshit, like never-ending story shit. The more you wish, the more. But it's true. It's true. If you could follow my logic, sometimes it's tough. Let's see here. Where did I leave off? Christopher McRae, what's up, dude? Perkuz's Corner. Arizona State has a huge living alumni base. That's what they were talking about. Along with UCF, alumni donate money. That was their value. Absolutely. It's a huge alumni base that Arizona has. Massive, massive. Excuse me. UCF, their value is they have the youngest alumni base. It's huge and it's young, really young. So it's going to continue to grow like a son of a bitch. UCF is going to be a power. They're going to be a power. Trust me. I'm not saying they're the next Alabama. All right. I'm not saying that. Could they be the next Utah? Maybe. I think so. Next TCU, next trying to think of another South Carolina? Yeah. Somewhere up in that echelon. Maybe one day be the next Washington or Oregon. That's really the true ceiling for them. They got a high ceiling. That was outside of BYU, that was my favorite ad. UCF, it was a huge ad. Derek Marie, well, thank you for the clap, sir, or possible high fives. Or if I really get back, it's a weird chicken turkey hybrid, but I appreciate it. Nathan Nicked, something like that. The Big 12 has to be the biggest conference for two reasons. We win with numbers, not to brands, and with coast-to-coast league travel is not untenable without regional pods. Yeah, you'll have regional pods. That's the only way to do it. Big 12 does have to be the biggest conference. Period in the story. You need numbers. All right, the SEC is not interested in numbers. They're not interested in going to 30 teams or 24 teams. They don't give a flying shit if they ever get to 20. All right. There's certain schools and certain places that they will add value to them, and that's very, very limited. Florida State, Clemson, possibly Miami. That's about the only schools I can see them actually wanting to add. The Big Ten, considering the Oregon and Washington thing, I've been saying forever, I've been questioning, can UNC make the cut for the Big Ten? I have to concede they may make that cut. I hate to do it because there are some UNC fans that are absolute shit shows, prigs, if you will. But I have to admit, there's an actual, after seeing the vetted and cleared crap with Oregon and Washington, UNC just might get in that son of a bitch. You never know. You never know. I still think, though, that the Big Ten would, in order, because, that's the thing. You're going to have to work with these networks in order for the ACC thing to get solved. Number one, you got to work with ESPN, but you're actually going to have to work with Fox as well. You're going to have to work with them, or some of those other guys, NBC, CBS. You're going to have to work with them. Because the Big Ten, I feel, in order to get involved in the ACC stuff, they're not just going to take who the SEC doesn't want. No, no, no. They're going to demand Florida State. The Big Ten will demand Florida State. I guarantee you. It's like, okay, if people are going to come to the Big Ten, we get to have first pick. If you need us to make this work, we got to have a pick. All right. Clemson and Florida State can't both go to the SEC. We need one of them. We want Florida State. I think that's how that's going to work. So, like I said, that shit's way more complicated. That's probably the most complicated type of deal in all of sports that'll ever happen, is tearing apart the ACC. It's a shit show. But it has started. It's been going on for months with these 7, but that's how it begins. They are going to rip that thing apart eventually. It's just going to take. There's a lot of working, dude. If you thought the Pac was a motherfucker, the ACC is going to be. I don't know. It's breaking into Fort Knox. It's going to be tough. Tough to figure it out. People way smarter than me. The Big Lubbock. 24 teams in 3 steps is 3 steps away. Maybe. The first step is 16 teams, then 20 teams, then 24. The media partners don't have the money for the jump to 24. No. Going to something like 24, that involves Amazon. That involves streamers. Right now, Amazon just wants to dip their toe in. Game a week. Big 12 can make that happen. You can get that money bringing teams. Bring in whoever the hell you want to at that point. But they got to be value additive. Now, if you could project San Diego State, if you think San Diego State with a Power 5 resources behind them, if you think they can grow into something like UCF, if you think they could be a power one day, then yeah, you work something out with that. But it's going to take an Amazon and or a side deal with NBC. They seem to want some content for the USA Network, a little content for Peacock. Might be able to work something out there too. All these things we've been talking about with the Pac, I kind of feel like the Big 12 should be grateful for all those great ideas. Because we can employ all of them. And those are all things that we can do. This is kind of funny, It's like watching some dumbass take a girl. There's no way, no business that dude has any business with that chick at the prom. So, you work a little magic and maybe you're the one that leaves with her. That's kind of how I see it. Let's see here. Nathan Nett. Big 12 will be the biggest conference easily. We don't have the luxury of being selective, but we can win with numbers to fill inventory. Plus, we need lots of teams to create travel pods. That is correct. And he continues. My guess is 28-32 teams in the Big 12, 22-24 in the Big 10, 20-22 in the SEC. SEC is definitely the most selective of the bunch. I do agree with that. I don't agree with the numbers. I don't think the SEC ever get to 20. 18, easily see 18. Because they've also talked about they don't give a shit if they have an odd number of schools. That has been written about. It's been talked about by Paul Feinbaum and several other people that are well connected within the SEC. That right now they're at 16. They don't care if they're only at 17 or 19. They're not going to add somebody just to make something even. They don't care. They're the SEC. They'll make it work. 18-inch pythons, baby. Or 24, whatever Hulk Hogan used to say. But yeah, Big Ten. I think they'll get to 20. They'll get to 20. Uh, if they go over 20, that's going to be down the line. That'll be the second, that their next contract after 2030. Somewhere in there, maybe they'll add a couple more schools, get to 22 maybe. I just can't see them adding a ton. There's not tonnage that's going to go on. There's just, I don't see it. I'll believe it when I see when they go over 20 teams. Maybe I won't be too shocked if it's 22. Anything north of that, I don't see a way in hell. But I'm still holding on. I don't think they'll get north of 20. I think the Big 12 will be the only conference north of 20. And, you had 28, 32 or something like that. That is not out of the question. Not when you're including basketball only. Big East, Gonzaga. That can definitely happen. Mr. Balderus, don't forget the Big 12 is going international, playing in Mexico, which I love. I love, especially being half Hispanic, damn it. There's a lot of money down there in Mexico, not just cartel money. A lot of good, great fans down there, damn it. We'll bring a lot of exposure outside the U.S., and hopefully that will be a huge success so they pick games to play in Europe and Asia. Well, Europe and Asia is a ways away. I could see one day maybe doing some kind of tournament, maybe a preseason tournament in Europe. That could happen. Or even Asia somewhere. That could happen. But possibly we might see not too long from now some kind of in-season tournament or round robin or something like in Mexico City or Monterrey, wherever they're wanting the basketball part. I know those are the two towns they were talking about, but I can see some kind of round robin tournament style type of thing in season in Mexico. I can see that happening. Derek Murray, nothing but facts. Appreciate you. At least I hope they're facts, not just me talking out of my ass. Rumish Lance, neither the Big Ten or no SEC will take leftovers. No, they're not. They want creme de la creme, baby. They don't want SpaghettiOs. They want the steak. But, are we getting SpaghettiOs? Is Louisville a SpaghettiOs? I don't think so. NC State? I mean, maybe they're not like a T-bone steak. Maybe they're not that. But, maybe they're like some really good, like, top shelf pork. You grill up some pork, that's some good shit. So, maybe they're that. It's a good petite sirloin pork, damn it. Let's see here. Big Lubbock. Don't be a numbskull. Florida State, Clemson are going to the same conference, but Miami will go to the Big Ten. Maybe, maybe not. Duke, Big Lubbock. Duke to the Big 12. I would love Duke in the Big 12. Would love that basketball brand in the Big 12. Take it all day long. I know football sucks. I know it sucks. How long has Kansas sucked in football? They kind of turned it around a little bit. They got a quality coach. Things are popping off there in Kansas. They're getting respectable. Duke can do that. But Duke is an amazing basketball school. So I'd love that. Florida State and Clemson, they're not exactly a package deal. So I don't know. I haven't heard anything about them being a package deal. Jerry Jones, is it really Jerry? Why not Arizona and Arizona State and Oregon State and Washington State if Colorado and Utah go to the Big Ten? Because Colorado and Utah won't have a Big Ten option. I don't see that, not for 2 seconds. I might literally shit my pants if that happens. That's how surprised I would probably jump up, shit my pants if those two schools ended up in the Big Ten. So that's probably why. That's probably why. And nothing against Oregon State or Washington State. I like both those schools. I think they would fit. I just don't know anything about the Big 12 wanting them. Nathan Necht. By the way, I own a UPS store. Hey, that's awesome. Game respects game. I have mad respect for the UPS drivers who pick up our store every day. You'll work as hard as anybody out there. Well, you won't find an argument from me, and those damn UPS stores have a butt ton of shit every day. I often thought about owning a UPS store, getting one going off, getting a little UPS action, ownage. UCF Island, sup, dude? Florida and basketball are starting to become more popular in Mexico. We're dealing with more and more recruits from Mexico in both sports. That's great news. That's news to my ears, man, because we're going. Was it 2024? We're going to start playing games, football and basketball. Sunny V, solid chopped steak with mushrooms, onions, and gravy. Maybe. You grill the chop steak, though. You grill it. None of that gas shit either. All right, charcoal. All right, if you want to use wood chips and smoke it, no problem. At the very least, barbecue, charcoal, man. Flavor charcoal, that's the shit. And don't argue with me. I'm like 40, 50 pounds overweight because of that shit. I know what I'm talking about. I'm a damn expert. I'm an expert on eating red meat, damn it. But yeah, those are the main news items. And I just couldn't just, I didn't have time to do like 3 to 4 different videos. I'm still going to drop a video probably tomorrow. And it's still going to be some speculative horse shit, of course. It's got to be. It's going to be some major speculation. Like, it's going to be a gold blue dude special. It will be. It's coming. Give you a little teaser. Notre Dame, Big 12. Notre Dame in the Big 12. Like I said, it's going to be a ridiculous video, but I'm going to do it. Anyway, guys, I thank you guys for coming on here and listening to my BS here, man. Oh, hold on, I forgot somebody. 513 Bearcat, what's up? If we go to 20, then we should change to 10 or 11 conference game. All that's up for debate, man. I am not good at math. Just however they want to do it. However they want to do it. But we ain't stopping at 20. We're going to blow past that shit. Paul Lepke, basketball is much more of an international sport than American football is. So if your conference is great at basketball, do what you can. Yeah, that's true. Baseball too. Baseball too, man. Baseball's huge south of the border. Always has been. Nathan Necht, at some point we have got to have Colorado, Arizona news break. Dude, I'm telling you, it's going to be before June. If we're sitting here at June 1st and we're like in the same spot, I'm going to be like, what the fuck, dude? Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So I fully expect that. Arturo Balderas, Notre Dame would ironically fit in the Big 12. The conference has faith-based institutions, i.e. Baylor, BYU, TCU. Yeah, Catholics don't like those other people. Oh, not all Catholics. No, maybe just the Roman kind. I'm not sure. But we're going to save that for the video. It's going to be coming out. Hopefully you see it, Mr. Arturo. Cool name, by the way. Like a swordsman from Spain. Anyway, thank you guys. I'm going to peace out, go to bed, and hopefully get that video out for you tomorrow. Anyway, thank you for being here. All right, one more for Sunny V. Golden Blue Dude, RIP. Special. Nice speculation, Twilight Zone. That is true. That is true. All right, guys. Thank you. And see you.